Hi, I'm Harrison Keeley. Here's a quick look at today's top stories. First of all, a Varnell police officer is back on the job today after crashing his patrol car into another vehicle, throwing the other driver onto the pavement. A preliminary report from the Georgia State Patrol blames Officer Patrick John Hayes for the crash, saying he cut off the other driver while trying to turn. But Varnell Police Chief Lyle Grant says the crash wasn't the officer's fault. He says Hayes flipped his emergency lights on before the crash, and the other driver must not have noticed. That information isn't in the preliminary report, but it has since been confirmed by the Georgia State Patrol. According to the report, 22-year-old David Nathan Gambrell was not wearing a seatbelt when the crash happened. He was flown to Erlanger Hospital and is reportedly making a fast recovery. 2 people are headed to jail after a $44 million land fraud case. From 2008 to 2010, hundreds of buyers bought lots at the preserve at Rising Fawn in Dade County, and hundreds believed what John Dobson and Paul Gott were selling. Their company, Southern Group, even promised to pay the down payment and mortgage payments for buyers in exchange for using those buyers' credit to obtain loans. Lots valued at $6,000 to $9,000 sold for $150,000 to $200,000 undeveloped. And of the more than 300 lots sold, most remain vacant. Had the real estate market crash not exposed the scheme, hundreds more lots could have been sold. A Florida pastor set on retiring lost her life savings. A 70-year-old retired doctor in California declared bankruptcy. And those are just a few of the stories. The FBI says the sales brought in $40 million of loans that were likely obtained fraudulently. Both Dobson and Gott were convicted of conspiracy, wire fraud, and money laundering. Dobson has been sentenced to 10 years in prison. Gott is sentenced to 6. It's been 2 years since a baby was beaten to death in Marion County, and still no arrest has been made. 3-month-old Colin Eugene Russell died in June 2012. The baby had blunt force injuries of the head, hemorrhaging in the brain, multiple rib fractures, and spinal injuries. And some of the rib fractures appeared to be healing from previous injuries. A medical examiner's report described battered-child syndrome and called the manner of death homicide. District Attorney Mike Taylor says the baby's father, Chris Russell, remains the only person of interest in the case. He says there are still some important details to wrap up before the case can be presented to a grand jury. All 3 members of the Board of Tax Assessors in Fannin County, Georgia, have been removed from office. The firings come after some major blunders. For one, no one ever paid property tax on a $2.2 million log cabin near Blue Ridge. Why? Well, the mansion is recorded on tax rolls as unimproved land worth just $52,000. That means roughly $100,000 in property taxes has gone uncharged on the house since its construction in 2008. And in Mineral Bluff, the Nicholson Tire Shop got a $796,000 property tax bill. The shop itself is only worth around $100,000. After the mistake, the owner got what he was told was a corrected bill for $795,000. In fact, the auto shop had been massively overvalued at $103 million. In all, 63 structures, including 4 owned by employees of the assessor's office, had their property values incorrectly lowered in 2013. Now, board members David Lewis, Jerry Whitehead, and Mary Jo Toe are out, and new assessors have been sworn in. The new track built at Dade County High School will have to be torn down and rebuilt. Why? Well, because it's too short. The length and width didn't actually meet regulations. School officials say they noticed the problem when a crew went to stripe the track and found that it would only hold 5 lanes instead of the 6 it was supposed to. Superintendent Sherry Swader told WRCB there should be no extra costs involved in rebuilding the track because the contractor is doing the right thing by fixing the mistake. Some major sports awards have been presented at the Best of Preps banquet in Chattanooga. Jake Yost, the coach of Cleveland's wrestling team, won Coach of the Year. In 2 seasons, his team has won 4 state titles. Brooke Copeland was awarded Female Athlete of the Year. She's a star player in basketball and volleyball, and the overall female winner for the 2nd year in a row. She's heading to the University of Florida to play basketball. And Slade Dale won Male Athlete of the Year. Dale plays baseball and football at Ringgold High School. He's headed to the University of Georgia. Part of Highway 153 that crosses the Tennessee River will be closed for 3 days next month. Thrasher Bridge over Chickamauga Dam will be closed from the evening of June 19th until the morning of June 23rd. TVA is closing the road to make its first major repairs to the bridge in 15 years. Finally, a local barista was given $1,300 in a random act of kindness. Molly Williams' shift had just ended at Cadence Coffee when a customer pointed out an envelope on the floor addressed to her. Inside was cash and a typed-out letter.
It was a really long letter, and it had things that they've noticed about me, and things about God, and things about just how they just really felt moved. And he literally was like, "I don't know why I'm holding this amount of money in my hand right now, but it's yours, and I know that you're going to do great things with it, and there's a big plan for you, and someone cares about you."
Williams doesn't know who left the $1,100 bills, but the cash is paid out to the dollar for a bill she owes UTC. WRCB says she had to leave the school after 3 semesters because of money, but now she plans to return to get her degree. Turning to weather, we'll likely see showers and thunderstorms after 1 o'clock today. The high will be near 87 degrees. The low tonight will be around 66. That's it for today's newscast. Thanks for being with us. You can find more on these stories and breaking news all day long at timesfreepress.com.